Coming at you from Scratch Wolf Studio, it's that time again to rage across the internet. It's your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. As always, I'm your host, Porter. Sit to my left, the 2020-2021 Little League champion, Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody.
And coming in remote, our dear friend and master dentist,
Really?
CJ.
Howdy, y'all.
Master dentist, huh?
Apparently.
He's got a whole pool full of teeth.
And how many of them are yours?
They're all his once
I
he's
don't know,
done.
Mr. with a mouthful of teeth that... Well done, Porter.
Oh, boy. Here we
Thank
go.
you. My only regret is I didn't get CJDDS. It's just Mr. Alphabet Soup.
CJDDS. That's... Yep. We're going to...
CJDDS Squire.
Whoa.
We're just adding to it, man.
All right.
Welcome to Rage Across the Internet.
Yes.
This is once again your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. Each and every week we get together, discuss various aspects of the game, and today is no exception.
Back from another actual play of wherever Gaia takes us. Enjoying that show, man.
I hope you're enjoying the game.
Oh, well, I'm enjoying the game.
And actually, it's related. Today's episode, it comes to us actually straight from CJ. This was his idea.
And that's why, again, he's here. Again.
I think he's here because we enjoy his company.
Well, yes,
he's a good
that
storyteller.
Too. Also that, too.
I mean, I don't want to give him a big head here. He's getting very quiet, and I feel like, he's just absorbing this positivity.
Here.
It's not like us.
Of course not.
Just absorbing the positivity and planning to do stuff with our teeth. There's no sane, well-adjusted person decides they want to diddle someone's mouth for a living. Fucking dentists, man.
I want to put my hands in your mouth.
Right? That's my career. That guy's not on a list. Are we kidding?
Oh, God. Yep, good start.
Shout out to John on that one.
Yep.
Great start. Here we go.
No, but this was CJ's idea. And it's super topical because, by the way, we are smack dab in the middle of Halloween.
Whoop, whoop.
Which, if you're a fan of RAI, we celebrate
Halloween.
since the 1st of September. But it's mid-October now.
Because it's the Halloween season.
It is the Halloween season. It's the best season. And
Yes.
it's the only reason we're here, frankly. Like, if they're like, Halloween's canceled, fuck off, it's just going to be Thanksgiving and Easter or whatever.
First canceling the show?
No, it was just Halloween.
Oh.
They canceled Halloween. What the fuck would we be doing? Like, there's no point. I don't mean on the show, I mean on Earth.
Even worse.
It's the only point of being on this planet is Halloween.
It's September through October?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Halloween in Werewolf. It's it. It's all we got.
I'm fine with that.
Without the spooky season, not much we can do.
Exactly.
You know what? Oddly fine with that.
It's just the world.
Yes.
Sorry. Fucking watch a horror movie or else.
Preferably with werewolves in it.
Maybe. There's not really very many good ones.
No.
Maybe watch something where someone takes teeth out. How do you avoid the dentist? How do you do that? I mean, I guess brushing, but...
I mean, even then.
Yeah.
But we
Do they
have...
count as doctors?
That's the question. Because, and no, I don't think they do.
I mean...
I think they're doctors who couldn't commit. It's like a podiatrist. I look at the feet specifically. There's like a whole body attached to it. You just got lazy. But, they say, doctors are afraid of apples.
Right.
The saying, an apple a day keeps a doctor with it. Doctors are afraid of apples. So what are dentists afraid of?
Apples.
Is it like half an apple? Will that do? Because they're not
Kinda.
full
Well,
doctors.
I
They're
mean-
just mouth doctors.
See, I don't know. I'm not sure. Because...
What about mechanics?
I mean...
Well, a doctor's just a human mechanic.
Correct?
So are mechanics afraid of apples?
No. Because...
Are they afraid of metal apples?
Metal apple. Got it. Probably.
No, you just steal the 10mm socket from a mechanic and they can't do anything.
You steal what?
The 10mm socket. Because everybody's always looking for that. It's always going missing.
Like they can't do anything? Like it immobilizes them?
There are a lot of things that require the 10mm socket.
Right, but CJ said they can't do anything.
I wouldn't
Like,
say
so if I grab that
anything.
motherfucker, they're going to starve to death because they can't feed themselves?
Have you ever tried it?
I don't know. I haven't. I'm
You
asking.
can't prove it until it's true.
I don't have anything against mechanics, though. Because I'm like a doctor. If you go to the mechanics and say, hey, change my oil, and they don't, you don't owe them any money. A doctor will show up late, charge you for being late.
Yep.
Right? And then if you're like, hey, my fucking blood's bad, change my oil. They won't do it.
Nope.
They'll usually refer you to somebody else and then have the audacity of charging you for passing the buck. If I go to the doctor with like a broken hip and he doesn't fix that hip today, then what the fuck is he getting paid for? He didn't do anything. But he still expects money. Doctors are thieves. Throw apples at them. They're afraid of them and they deserve that fear.
Oh, man, it's funny.
This became a call to... I was just trying to say Happy Halloween.
I'm not even a mechanic, but I do a lot of mechanical work on stuff other than cars. And yet, I have a hard time if I don't have that 10mm socket or 10mm wrench.
I feel like you're trying to tell us that you built some sort of robot for some unseemly purpose.
Unseemly, no, but yes. I have built a few for other stuff. Hell, Joe, I showed you the video already.
Whoa! I didn't. I have
video.
not seen.
Not that video.
See, he admits that video exists.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right,
I guess we can roll this into trick or treat, folks.
Trick or treat. Just kidding. Whole time.
Maybe.
Whole time. I was just kidding.
There are no vacuum cleaners in Danny's home.
I'm not. Nope.
They won't sell him any sort of pump at Home Depot.
I'm not. Nope. We got a show. But before we got a show, we have some business to take care of.
We're going to show after that.
Yes. Yes, we are. Hell, they've already started fast forwarding at this point. They might as well get it over with.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, for real, though, Happy Halloween.
Happy
It is
Halloween.
the Halloween season. And we'll get back to that in a second because Danny wants to show. He's right.
Yes.
If you've gotten this far, you must be a fan of what we do. And if you're a fan of what we do, we definitely appreciate your help. And there are ways you can do that. Obviously, word of mouth is very important. The more people that we tell about the show, the more people that listen. I mean, that's good for us. So, tell people, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell people you want to get into Werewolf. We recently did a show about the pitch, getting people into Werewolf. Maybe start them right there.
Yeah.
You got that group you didn't know how to tell them. Maybe that's the show for you. We're here for you. We want to help. It's great. You can help us too. Aside from word of mouth, if you are in a position to give, if you have the cash to spare, which frankly would be a miracle, it's not the world we're living in right now. But if you do, holy shit, we'd appreciate it. You could swing over by our Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/rage across the internet. And you could join, you could do a one-time donation if you're so inclined.
We
Or-
still appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, which is really the better idea, is you could join one of our tiers. And if you do that, we have rewards, obviously. Ways of saying thank you for the support. We've got our movie nights. We've got our game team. Which is kind of free pass to harass us all the time, because now you can get a hold of us.
Yep.
We have our...
The postmortem series, which we do a breakdown of all the games we have run under Porter here as the storyteller between me and Tom and our previous character before Wherever Gaia Takes Us.
That's right. So the adventures of the Blood Moon Pack, which I guess is a little bit of a spoiler. Eventually. Yeah,
I think
that
by
pack name
now
gets changed. No, not yet.
Oh, then yeah. Look at that. Spoiler.
That's okay. Yeah, they eventually get renamed. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, there's that. It's a dive. We do some readings from the scripts. We talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff, and then there's a lot of fun banter.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Serial lore.
We did serial lore. We did fast food lore. This is somehow relevant and important. It's just in your heart. It will be.
It will be. I promise.
We also have the NPC of the month.
Yes.
Club for which is a
fully fleshed out characters.
It's a character from my character Bible. I hand out one a month, and it gets rewritten and revised because there are various versions of that through the years. I mean, these are gifts that we give for the gift that you give to the gifting of the give. So, if you're in a position,
and thank you.
Yes, if you're in a position, please and thank you. It means the world to us. And again, if you don't, we totally understand. Times are tight and money is important, and we
get it.
Yeah, we get it. We respect that shit. There's a reason our store ain't open no more.
Exactly.
I would love to just be a fucking shyster and not care, but
no, we can't do that. To
you got
our
to community,
though.
Exactly. You got to take care of each other. But that's that. You know, of course, there's also our Discord.
Yep.
There's a fun little cast of characters that show up on the regular on our Discord.
And again, we built an awesome community where most of you are there on the Discord. We would love for all of you to be there.
Right.
And if you are not there, you can be there by getting through the forums of our website at ragecrosstheinternet.com.
.com.
Hey-o.
And I feel like that's enough.
That's good enough.
All right, so back to apples.
Build's done. Back
Technically,
to apples.
dentists are doctors. They have a doctorate.
But again,
They go to school a long time to get a doctorate.
so does a shrink, so does a podiatrist.
And they are also
There's Look, if you are a shrink and you insist on being called doctor, you're probably a little bit of an ass. Actually, maybe not a shrink, but you know, there are doctorates out there that do not.
We got a lot of distinctions today.
I'm drawing lines in the sand. We're making friends.
or enemies. Or both.
Or we're just giving Danny a lot of work.
Yeah, I'll just say or, depending on. Yep.
Some of this, I'm sure, is getting cut. There are groups where we've offended already. Maybe.
We'll see.
It depends on how much humor, right?
Yeah, because it depends how hard I'm laughing when I come to edit.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, back to it. And again, suggestion from CJ on today's episode.
Yeah. So back to apples. But no, for real. This was CJ's suggestion. And perfectly topical for Halloween. And again, Happy Halloween, everybody. We celebrate it. We love it here. We hope you're loving it too. Go watch some horror movies, but not so fast. Because first, we are here to talk about creature design.
And I'm trying to remember where this episode is ending up compared to the story.
It's going to be right before it.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to give spoiler away then. But...
So, yeah, the stuff in 10.2 is not going to air yet. It's going to be next week.
Fuck. Okay.
I checked.
Well, thank you for checking.
Yeah.
But at the same time...
Yeah, I wish it wouldn't so. Because
Yeah.
this would be perfect after 10.2.
Yep.
Because there's two more examples, but...
Because obviously you knew exactly what I was thinking here.
Yeah, well, it's what CJ was thinking. It was fucking brilliant.
Yes.
And let's expand on that real quick. CJ, why did you suggest this episode?
It is something that I will admit myself I've struggled at a few times whenever it came to like making enemies for my packs to go up against. You know, instead of just having them face Scrag number 43, and through the actual play series with Porter and seeing some of the creatures that he's made that have either made our skins crawl or have just been amazing to like figure out how they behave and how they fit into this world. Figured, you know, picking his brain a little bit, coming up with some extra ideas might be a good idea for an episode.
I mean, thank you. I mean, obviously, it's very flattered, but also I think it was important to talk about why we decided to do this because it seems like such a narrow fucking topic, but you know, also I'm kind of proud of my creature design. I feel like it's something I do kind of well.
And I'm not always 100% sure on which ones are your design compared to what you've taken direct from books compared to what you've just taken as inspiration.
And we'll cover all of that. Mostly,
I'm sure,
mostly it's all original designs. You know, I mean, you know what a Scrag is. Obviously, I didn't come up with a Scrag. But, you know, the Gutweiler.
It's one of my favorite names.
Right. It's so fun to say.
Yeah.
You know,
the cedars.
Right, the cedars. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big one. Especially with, again, the actual play going on. And then the next week.
Yeah, there's 2 original creations next week.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for people to hear these.
You know, the Jelgan, which we barely really got to interact with, but that was another original design.
Which one was that one?
That was the plant monster.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we really didn't get to interact with it.
Okay.
But it was still a significant part of the story.
And again, that was an original write-up. There's a bit written about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you used it on other places?
No.
No, so this is brand new for this story then.
Yeah, it was going to have a bigger role, and then obviously we had the 11th hour, the curveball, so I had to rewrite stuff, and so its role got diminished.
I mean, unfortunate,
Yeah. but like its hunting patterns, how it feeds, how it moves.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, I went full tilt. I really enjoyed it. I was having fun with it.
Like, how often is... I don't want to make this about you, though, because we have other stuff to do in this episode, but when it comes to your creature designs, how often are you getting that specific?
Well, this is kind of new. This is especially true with Gorgons.
Okay, fair.
I haven't gone into that kind of detail with Banes before, but with the... My design philosophy when it comes to Gorgons is I want them to have some sort of greater function, which isn't, I don't want to say you have to, because, they're of the wild, right?
Right.
So they don't,
there's no,
having too much logic and reason behind them seems like that's already a problem.
Yeah, you don't want it too structured.
However, I wanted to sit down, I sat back and I wanted to think about how they work. I wanted to go to focus on the organic aspects of them, and I think let's start with the cedar, right? The idea that, it was based on a creepypasta.
I remember you explaining that to me before.
Yeah, through the Q&A episode.
Yep.
Yeah. And I took it and I ran, I gave it that pineapple like skin texture because I like the idea that they had the little seed packets, like the seeds inside that had cedar. So it would pass on it and replicate.
Pineapple gecko monkey.
Right, by implanting those seeds in its prey. It's pollinating as it's attacking, basically.
Right. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's just remembering that shit. Oh, God.
Cedars are neat.
Yeah. Now, CJ, you said you have a little bit more trouble when it comes to creature design.
Occasionally, yes. There are times where I think I hit, like, fucking gold and start actually running away with an idea, but yeah, a lot of time it's one of those things of like, how much time do you actually spend on it? How much detail do you try to go into versus just reskinning a already existing creature?
Now, is there any examples you can hit us with that you've had? Like, give me one of those gold ones.
One of the ones that I made that I've used for 2 games so far for like a monster for their rite of passage was a thing that I called a rot dam. Basically, it started off with an idea of what happens when you get rot walkers, the bane that possess something dead and animate it for a little while. What happens when you start getting more of those in an area? And I eventually made this little like colony creature that is an amalgamation of a bunch of rotting corpses that form into one specific unit and like usually go and stay upstream, sit in a river, and just slowly let the water filter through them as they're tainting it.
Oh, I love that.
Holy shit.
And when this thing fights, this is my favorite part because it freaked out the players the first time. When it fights, the thing gets up on like an amalgamation of limbs, and when it moves, it's like it's rolling and new limbs are pushing out of the body.
Oh, it's
to catch itself as it's going.
I love it.
That's fucking creepy.
That's great.
That's awesome. Okay, well done.
Second favorite part, I have a little condition that if the players deal a specific amount of damage or over, it splits in half.
Nice. That's some classic slime shit. I love it.
Well done.
Once again, it's just a Rotwalker for the most part that has been like statted up and given a few new little tricks.
But that's okay. Little enhancements. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Let's face it. Even that initial concept came from the lowly meat puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which...
I get it.
Meat puppet.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
Oh my, and it's slowly tainting the water too.
That's my favorite part. The idea that by its habit, it's like they hang out by the river and just filter the water through this diseased fucking net.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then just, occasionally you'll be going through the woods and just seeing like a deer that's been half mauled by a bear limping along to go drop itself onto this mound.
Oh.
Beautiful.
To join the colony.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, beautiful.
No, isn't, oh God, don't do it. Don't do it. But no, you're, oh, fuck.
Perfect.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'm impressed. I like this. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like the deer's about to die kind of thing, and he knows it.
No, it's dead.
It's okay, so it just died.
Oh yeah, that is a corpse.
It's necessity missing an arm or missing a leg, its ribs are showing, guts are dragging behind it.
I hope
and
the
might
deer
not
doesn't
even
have
be
arms.
there.
Wait, well,
once it joins the colony.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But yeah, after, but before, I mean, you said missing an arm. I'm like, fuck, I hope it missed both. If I'm out in the woods, I see a deer with a pair of arms, I'm not even running. I'm just accepting fate. Just going to lay down and wait for that to happen because I ain't getting away.
God damn it. A GIF just popped in my head from fucking cartoon that I might have to send later.
Okay.
No, hit it.
Well, not now. It's a fucking, they can't see.
Oh, okay. That's right.
It's for us for later.
Oh, a GIF. I thought you said a gift. Like he was going to make
no.
one up.
You know, the gift. You know what gift keeps on giving?
What's that?
Is a membership to the RAI Ko-Fi.
You can buy one for your friends.
All of them.
Oh, yeah, get one for each.
Full year. Just cause.
Why not?
Yeah. Make us happy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeez, that was rough. That one was rough.
It's fine.
It is fine. It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, that's good.
That's impressive. I like that one a lot. So
and that just started with a simple what if, and that's the big problem for me usually is like I gotta find that start point.
No, that makes sense. And I'm obviously what the creature is a big deal. You know, I mean, that is largely the starting point. You know, I'll go back and, you know, again, we reference the wherever it takes us, you know, the Gutweiler. You know, I wanted a Bane associated with food.
Sure.
You know, something glutton kind of based, right? Okay, this is going to be associated with Otali's. You can bring it up later. I see what you're doing. But, you know, and so, you know, again, we're looking at food. Well, you obviously meat and, you know, so I had that envision of, you know, like a rolling stomach, like a blob, a stomach with teeth that just kept rolling and devouring and, you know.
Oh, yeah. The image I get in my head when we had that in the story is just, I don't see it rolling, but I almost see it like almost as 2 feet, but like there's so little gap in between what legs those are.
But yeah, like, no, I didn't envision it with legs. It was like the blob.
Yeah.
But just with aggressive teeth. And it was the idea too, you know, like it's shaped like a stomach, you know, and it's just rolling with teeth and largely fangs more than like grinding teeth, you know.
Which makes sense for the you said gluttony. So. Yeah.
And they're not, the mouth itself isn't staying where it should. You know, like it's undulating, or slithering, right? More than it is like rolling like a ball. But the idea is that while it's doing that, the fangs are displaced throughout its body.
Oh,
and then come back together to attack. And it's just this red, bloody, undulating mass of flesh and you know, fucking digestive fluid.
Oh,
right?
Bile.
Yeah, thank you, bile. Yeah, you know, You picture like the stench of that.
Oh,
like Burger you've left out in the sun for a week or something. Don't leave Burger out in the sun for a week. What's wrong with you? That's not a secret recipe. That's called food poisoning.
And I imagine that's exactly what their Gutweiler smells like. Food poisoning.
Yeah, right?
Now, here's an actual question for specifically with Banes and everything like that, or just spirits in general when making those kind of creatures. For you, Porter, how important is what is it a Bane of? Like, you know, the Gutweiler's like a gluttony, but is it specifically gluttony or something else?
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes it's important and it isn't. I may have said out loud before. I might have said on the record that it was like a gluttony Bane. I might have said that.
You just said it a couple minutes ago.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Thanks for listening to the podcast, Porter. You should have hit me with that. You missed your fucking opportunity.
I was just surprised.
Are you sure that I didn't say it was based on...
Or, like, based, yeah.
Well,
because those are different things.
Okay, fair.
To say that is a bane of gluttony and said it's based and like a concept of.
You said based.
Okay, that's different. Because, yeah, it's not per se, I wouldn't call it a bane of gluttony. But it is with that in mind. And I would lean more toward vaguer concepts like that for the most part, so you have more wiggle room, because as far as I'm concerned, and I mean, there's argument to be made here, but, you know, a Scrag is a murder spirit. All right.
Yes.
That's not, we know that's been listed. Okay.
Yep.
So now, does that mean all murder spirits are scrags?
No.
But you see where you understand, like, I mean, it was rhetorical, but you see what we're doing there.
Yes.
Because now if I say this is a gluttony bane, you leave the implication that this is the only option in the deck when it comes for, and that's, so I don't like to marry, I like to put it in like the family tree of, as opposed to a straight, this is this thing.
Right.
Because I don't want to cement it.
Because, when we said scrags are murder spirits. And
well, we didn't say that. Well, it's been written.
It's been written.
It's not up to us. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, we know that. But then I was like, okay, so what kind of other spirits and banes could we go off of? And what other... The first thing I thought of, the 7 deadly sins. We just talked about gluttony. But again, those are kind of vague. So really, a spirit of, like, pride could mean so many different things. Spirit of wrath, lust, envy, the 7 deadly sins. They're very, very vague.
Yeah, well, there's 7, though. You're welcome.
Well done. Well done.
Well, see, and this is what it comes. We go back to it, right? Is a scrag is a murder spirit. Is every murder spirit a scrag? Well, is it? I mean, it's not written, and that's the bitch. It's not written anywhere, so we have to make that decision. I might go murder, right? The word murder, that is a scrag.
Sure.
I mean, obviously it's not the word, but you know what I'm saying.
But I know what you're saying. Yes.
But there are different. I mean, there's different types of murder. There's not, but there is, right? Is it a violent murder? Is it a murder out of jealousy? Is it a murder? Yeah. Is it a crime of passion? Is it fratricide? Is it, and I think when you branch off into the different...
Accidental.
Hunting a squirrel.
Is it, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is it accidental or is it more of survival?
Yeah. And I think that once you break down what murder is into categories, yeah, there's wiggle room. And again, it's the same thing like with the Gutweiler. Like, I don't want to... You
don't want to make it specifically gluttony, but it's based. I get it.
Right, yeah. And it's you want to keep it nebulous and like a satellite of the concept, which is cool, right? Because then you can refine as you go.
Sure.
Again, you look to you look to murder, getting OJ'd and, I don't even have a follow-up for the sentence. I just wanted to use OJ as a verb.
Is that where you get hit by a Bronco or smacked in the face with a white glove?
I think you need to review that case. But okay, the crime of passion, right? And then let's look to, I'm a fan of true crime, right? So like the Sarah Boone case, which if you're not familiar, I'm going to help you.
Thank you.
She got her boyfriend drunk and put him in a suitcase and left him to die.
Oh, Jesus.
There's more to it than that, but that's the Cliff's Notes.
Sure, okay.
We're going to do this in a sentence. That this was a different thing. This was planned. This was cruel. It was, she wanted him to suffer. Those would be factors. So if I was designing a Bane around the two of those different murders, or the types of murder, the crime of passion versus you want the room to be able to mess with those different.
Okay.
If you follow me.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, here's an idea that came to me when trying to think up some different concepts to possibly turn into Banes or other creatures, especially with branching off from that, you want to keep it a little nebulous. So what about, mixing concepts a little bit, like greed and murder for a blood money spirit?
Yeah, blood. I like it.
It could be a corrupted spirit or something, but it's something that'd be hanging around actual mercenaries, particularly Loot Hungry Garu or stuff like that, where it's all about killing to get something.
I think, the top of my head, I would take a riff off of Almighty Dollar.
Okay.
Perhaps, and again, I'm doing this now.
Sure.
Because to be clear to our audience, we didn't discuss this beforehand.
Well, of course not. When do we ever script a thing?
Well, but sometimes we talk about stuff.
Sure.
Right? But it's one of these, like a Tale of Two Wolves we did 2 weeks ago, It like, we don't look at that first.
No.
Like, if I see that, like, we had that room for the Tale of Two Wolves, I never went to that room, because if I looked at that room, then I would know what's coming, and it would be cheating.
Right. No, it was purposely done on the fly.
Right, which is what this is, We knew we were doing the episode. I said, hey, you guys maybe work some concepts, and that was the end of it. I didn't even, so I just want this clear, that this is all...
off the cusp.
So if they suck, sorry. Just bad on my feet today. But no, I'm picturing something like the first thing I think of is Almighty Dollar, right? So I want to do a humanoid figure made of money. Like, made of the bills. Now, they're going to be either you lean into it and make all of the currency red, which I think is a little cheesy. So maybe you make it old and faded, but then blood stained. You have splatters and little splotches.
That's exactly what I first thought of.
Right, of like a dark brown, like the old oxygenated blood. This isn't new. All over him, like a goddamn Dalmatian.
Okay.
Or a Jackson Pollock or something. Maybe a combination. And then what I want to do is I immediately go to Edward Scissorhands. So I want to give him blades for his fingers.
Okay.
Like knives, and maybe different ones. Like, here's a dagger, here's a butcher knife, here's an ice pick. Different implements of murder.
Okay.
And I want to say a hunched posture, like a slinking, and I even maybe an element of Freddy Krueger, where he's, if you notice, I don't know how many horror aficionados out there, but you notice with Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund would always drop his shoulder, to show the weight of the glove.
Oh.
So I would have the shoulders drooped and maybe have him hunched because of the weight of these hands that are just implements of murder all by themselves. And if you want to you add to it, right? Because this is now an antagonistic spirit. Certainly.
Sure. Yes.
Instead of eyes, right? Because again, it's gonna be the form made of money, like a mummy, but just plastered with singles and shit. Yep. Right? So you have the form, you have the
bloodstained singles.
Sure. There's hundreds of shit too. It's different denominations, different currencies even. Fuck it.
Sure.
But at that point, what I'm saying is it's quote skin tight. So we have the contours of the form, and I would replace the eye sockets with gun barrels. Not sticking out, because that's cheesy.
Would be really fucking interesting.
Right, but yeah, like the eyeball itself, like instead of looking in there, instead of being black voids, like it's a black void, but you see the circle of the gun barrels in the eyes where the rounds of your eyes, like the iris is supposed to be.
Oh, man.
And like they can smoke, and they could even shoot if they're so inclined.
Fuck. You see the end of the barrel's sight.
Yeah, but they're always smoking. Top of my head.
That's good. That's pretty good.
Okay. Now, we got an idea for what this thing looks like. Now, what kind of temperament would you think it would have? Like, is this something that makes deals, or is it just mindless?
I see it as making deals.
No, I see it that way too, and I want its voice like it's a hiss, almost like a serpent, not a snake man. All right, what's going on? Let's party once a man. Not like Cobra Commander, but like a whisper that permeates around you. Like its voice is a perfume that smells of brimstone and gunpowder, obviously. Gunpowder and brimstone.
Cordite and brimstone.
And it just embraces you and washes over you, and it always whispers in the smoking eyes.
I could now totally picture this creature being drawn to the under reflection of a bank that's in the middle of a robbery.
Ooh.
Everybody's on the ground, everybody's cooperating, and you just have this creature whispering into the gunman's ear. And this is the moment that it turns from just, everybody stay calm, everybody stay down, we'll be out of here in a few minutes, to just start popping off shots. Maybe they thought somebody had a gun because, just a little voice in the back of their head's like, hey, watch out. Not directly tell him, kill him, making him a little paranoid until he jumps and pulls the trigger.
Well, and you know what, I could see it being drawn to situations, like unhappy marriages. Again, I'm going to my true crime shit again. But, the I'm going to hire the guy to kill my husband.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hovers. And it just kind of hovers around this angry wife. Was it the Belladafino or something? It's not important. You know, and then transferring to the hitman.
Mm-hmm.
Like with payment. It transfers.
Oh, okay. So, Jesus Christ.
And I think what it does is it'd be the thing you know, it'd be, me am speak a good, use a storytelling okie day, man.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week.
Shabadoo. Zork. Okay, for real.
I love that though.
What, that I just fucking made that run?
No,
the transfer.
The transfer, like, okay, yes, the payment. And it's going from who wants to make that deal to that, you know, the hired gun, if you will.
It follows the money. Yep. Yeah.
And as now he's going to pay for something, he makes that payment for whatever that is, because he's got the money to do it now. The blood-stained money, now corrupt money, goes to someone else, and that just keeps circulating.
Right. And I mean, obviously, mostly this isn't done with like, here's $100, but we'll just, for the sake of the story, we're going to call this the $100 bill.
Sure.
That's what this person's life was worth. Fine. Just fucking go with it. Okay. Or rather, the suitcase full of money. Better yet, the suitcase full of money.
Yes.
Okay. And the suitcase, it transfers to the assassin. Right. Now, all the while, the spirit latched onto this woman and facilitated the anger. It fed on it. And unbeknownst to her, is influencing her to make this kind of decision.
Yes.
You know, everything will be better if he's gone. All it's going to take is a couple bucks. It's all, and everything will be fine. And think of the insurance money you'll get. And oh my God, you know, festering on that greed and that anger and that, you know, and then passes over to the assassin. Right. Fine. But
through the money.
Right. Through the money. But it's sticking to the money.
Yes.
Like it's there and it's influencing the hitman who's already doing what he's doing. Fine. So it doesn't take much work. But then as that money gets put into circulation through the world, it's spreading that way.
It's exactly what I'm thinking. Man, I love that. That's fucking awesome.
This is neat. I like this.
Now, here's a interesting little just possible twist to it, maybe. Was this a creature that occurred naturally, or is this something that was made? You know, did somebody make that first dollar that this Bane is now connected to and put it into circulation?
If you mean in terms of like a designer Bane, I want to say no.
Yeah. Okay.
But
maybe
obviously money is not a natural concept. Yeah, so I want to say it's like an evolution.
Okay.
You know, concepts spring up on their own. We're using quotes. But yeah, since it's not, that's not something that came. Gaia didn't create the dollar.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, and I mean, sure, like, there were other forms of bartering, like murder is not a new thing. Murder didn't show up with George Washington. Well, the dollar didn't show up with George Washington. That came after him. But you can tell because he was on it. He couldn't be before him.
Oh, wow.
I love when I do shit like that. It's so much fun to do shit like that. If dinosaurs were so cool, how come they're all extinct? It's that same kind of logic. I love it.
Yep.
Dogs are so great, how come they don't have thumbs? What? Anyway. No, I think it's something that naturally evolved. You know,
okay.
You know, it's not like you've got some greed in my homicide and you've got some homicide in my greed.
What?
Well, it's not a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup situation.
Yeah.
But like, you know, however spirits breed, I guess, you know, and it's not like you took your Chihuahua with the Rottweiler to make a Chihuahua or a Guttweiler, even. Not even that. Yes, I think it's something that evolved. Okay.
Do you think it possesses people and actually makes Fomori, or is this a thing that's content with just?
I feel like it's probably not a possessor.
Okay.
No, I think it's
just a facilitator.
Yeah, originally my thought was it would be more aggressive like that, but as we've been talking about, it's like no, it feels more like a facilitator, like a feeder and a facilitator, and it's not. It doesn't like to get its hands. It doesn't like to get its hands dirty. Because there's no profit in it.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I see it, especially since you're saying it's more of an evolved thing, that it's an absolute sense, especially because you called it more of an evolved thing, that it's absolutely a facilitator and an influencer rather than possessor.
Follow Old Bloody Dollar on TikTok. Check out its OnlyFans.
Oh,
Just a bunch of chalk outlines. It's not safe for work. Some of them have genitals on.
Or you got to get to the dark web to access it.
Oh boy!
You said influencer.
Yes, you're right. I did. I apologize.
Now, like, picturing this thing, I could totally imagine it showing up at, like, those, bank robberies and stuff, or even in, like, hanging out in corporate offices whenever they're signing these deals that will ultimately lead to just fucking travesty. Or, once again, in, like, the halls of power as people are planning war for profit.
That's a really good point. So I want to amend or add to the description. Because, there was something I did recently in the actual place that I had never done before. I mean, there's a handful of things I had never done before.
There's a lot of those things.
There was a lot of new ground for me in these actual plays. But you guys have even pointed out that, I have had scrags with various differences. Not massive differences.
But noticeable ones.
Right. Some that are more bloated.
Yes.
Because they had just, quote, fed. And so some variation, right? I could see a version of this. I know I just said old bloody dollar, but we can do better than that. Maybe where it's more emaciated. Like its frame is almost skeletal. Like you can count the fucking ribs and shit. And, to help symbolize the other side that isn't just like guns for hire, but like you brought up there, CJ, like the people making the deals in those rooms. You get images of the refugees or the starving children as a result of.
Oof.
Right? And you conjure that image by making the figure more, emaciated and skeletal.
Ugh, creepy.
Just thought,
Yeah, this is already a fun creature. I gotta figure out a way to use it.
Hopefully you and a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the point of the episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I love my creature design, and I think I'm kind of going to do an episode. Plus Halloween. It was a good idea on CJ's part. Fucking capital.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Well,
I know I asked you guys, what did we, sorry.
I'm curious at this point, because you were saying earlier how you were trying to do more of ones of like different style and their purpose really when you were using for Gorgons.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of ones for Banes. What about one? And they're good, yeah, because obviously that's probably the easier ones to do.
So you're going to hit me with the Weaver.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, see, I don't think that really lends itself to the Weaver as much. We have the spider imagery for the Weaver. That is well established. And there can be variations on that.
Sure.
And then there's also stuff like geomids. So we have geometric shapes. But the Weaver isn't a source of creativity.
And it
is static and it's uniform, and there can be some variation, but we would tier that in terms of weaponry. A hunter spider is a hunter spider is a hunter spider. It's just maybe this one has a chainsaw and that one has a flamethrower. All right, but at that point, that's a Model 1 and Model 2 type scenario. And no one's going to sit there and name that, because that naming convention is already possibly too creative.
Okay.
At that point, it'd be like protocols or like specific program names, or just Mark 1, Mark 2.
Yep.
And I wasn't 100% sure how to even ask that question.
But I sussed it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw where you were going with it. And so that's the thing. Like, it's not that I don't want to discuss the Weaver. It's just that the Weaver, it kind of takes care of itself.
Sure.
Fucking, here's a parallelogram.
Screaming geometrically.
Yes. Well, and that's a great example, that GIF.
Mm-hmm.
And
so goddamn funny.
If you don't know it, it's from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I did not know that.
I know you didn't. That is a little advanced for you in your anime education.
Fair.
I want to get you there because it's great, but it's a little advanced for you. It's a lot. But,
I mean, I appreciate it. It's fine.
But, it was that idea of that angel with that's like the giant, fucking, it's like the angel core. It's like it dies and it shapes, and the shapes bleed into other shapes. And that's the kind of thing you want to focus on, like a giant sphere or a hexagon or like a geomid, frankly. I mean, those are there, though. It's a real thing, It's not super creative, but yeah, you just picture like a static shape or a kiosk, or, and again, lean on that spider imagery, but do different shit with it. But you want to follow that through line, because again, the Weaver is not something that's big on creativity.
Yeah, it's stasis.
Right. Like you want to use Terminator and perhaps the Matrix in terms of your perhaps the Matrix. I have a hard time with that. That's my fault. I don't like the Matrix.
Well, we know that part.
It was overhyped when it first came out, and the fucking Matrix kids ruined it. It's like how Titanic came out, and for the next 3 years, that's all anyone fucking talked about. I'm glad that ship sank.
Spoiler!
I'll kill you. Kill your whole family. I think I've used that one recently, haven't I?
Yeah.
I'll kill your whole family, starting with your dad, so I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Yep.
Yep. That's a great, it's a multi-layer one.
Yeah. That's some RAM meta right there.
I will say, here's potentially an idea for more of a Weaver-ish creature. Because it's from the Scar where you or not the Scar, the Cyber Realm, where you have that pit where like all the old and malfunctioning tech gets thrown in. What about, the worm picks up some of the discarded refuge of the Weaver and twists it a little bit, and now you have like a haywire spirit.
Well, see, that's a different thing. Like, I'm into that. But that's at that point a different thing because it's now the worm's influence on the Weaver stuff.
I was going to say, but yeah, now it's influenced.
Which is fine. I'm not...
Sure.
We're not throwing that out.
No,
cool.
It works.
In fact, that can be more fun.
Especially if you take a handful of different things.
And like the first thing I wanted, the first two things you think of, at least for me, is rust and leaking fluid. So, you have that spider, that hunter spider or whatever that was corrupted.
Sure.
Or, something even maybe like out of a junkyard. Right? Like I could see like, you've got the spots of rust and the spots where it's rusted through, so they're the holes. And as the thing fucking lunges forward or lumbers on, fucking like transmission fluid or antifreeze or oil or combinations thereof just leak out of the holes as it moves, like bleeding wounds.
I can imagine its movement is really like jittery, like it's a second away from just freezing up.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And maybe it's, like your muffler's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if that's happening.
Your shocks are bad, and,
Yep. And there's little pieces that are flaking off because of the rust.
Right.
That's good. I like that a lot.
And, yeah, that can lead to a lot of just, like, interesting little... once again, you want to throw a little bit more Weaver at your characters and get a little bit more creative with it. Yeah, just a dash of worm.
Right. Well, and even, how far do you go with it, right? But instances of places that were maybe Weaver friendly, or at least not Garu hostile. Maybe not Garu hostile, right? Maybe something more Silver Fang, or Jesus Christ, Glasswalkery. Excuse me, it's been a day. And some of these previously friendly, non-hostile, whatever Weaver spirits are showing up with patches of rust.
Okay.
Just out of nowhere.
Okay.
Click clack, your local friendly.
So it's a slow corruption then.
Yeah. Your buddy Speed Buggy. Right? The car.
Yeah,
that's he was normally sputtering and fun and, good to see you, punches the blue screen. Fucking, you're a good friend.
The blue screen.
Right? And suddenly, like there's antifreeze leaking out of its mouth as it speaks. What's happening?
The engine's out of time now, and you hear the clacking of the pistons.
Right.
Stuff. If you want to get really corrupted with it, could start going into like biomechanical, where some of the parts that had been rusting away or falling apart are being replaced.
Replaced by what, though?
Well, flesh growing on and around it.
Like, imagine a rusted out hunter-killer spider with like a chain gun under it, but it's missing the belt that the bullets would usually feed through. Instead, you have like a almost translucent like esophagus plugging into the gun, just pumping bullets into it now.
And see, like, where we're going with this, right? Because, obviously we have the normal spider imagery, right? But let's fucking twist that up a bit, right? Because, no, I want to say this in the dumb way. Because, like, what's like an evil spider is a scorpion.
Sure.
Really? I did that specifically to get a response out of you two, because that's some really dumb shit.
I'm trying.
No, just a scorpion is just an evolved spider.
No, it's not.
The webs grow into a tail. That's nature. I wanted so badly for you guys to bite on that. Damn it. Yeah. But no, I want to take that, but I do actually want to do that. Not for the... Like, that was just to
for
fuck
the
with
bit.
you.
Not for the bit. I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the legs have been dragging behind it unoperable and now started fusing together to make that tail.
Or it's growing an organic tail out of it, out of the back, because, you know, is the corruptions going. You know, just something extra to show the change in influence. You know, obviously, I mean, you know, jokes aside with the scorpion thing, but there's similarity in terms of imagery.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's a level of maybe increased ferocity in that, right? Like, you know, the spinner and spinner webs, fine, but you have something more aggressive. That's the word I'm looking for, more aggressive.
Okay, I can see.
With the tail, and then you get the fucking claws. No, they're aggressively not the same thing. That was just for the bit. But they're not so different visually that you can make that pass.
Yes.
To have that worm corruption, and this is breaking off for the organics, infecting it, turning it into something else, something different. And I'm not saying we turn spiders into scorpions, although as a sentence, I love that because it's so dumb. But the idea of taking on other features like that, you know, as it mutates into something else, is what I'm really talking about.
No, I get
Maybe it just starts growing more legs and we get a centipede eventually.
And then you can give that a tail and it's a scorpipede.
What the hell, guys? God damn it.
Scorpipede.
I almost see it as, and again, it's breaking apart. So you got the rust, right? And then you have almost like the spiders are trying to spin the webs and keep it still going.
Oh, see.
But then the corruption is still happening. So it's the corruption versus the spider and the webs fighting against each other.
Well, and this is a thing, right? Like, we use the obvious spider imagery with the weaver, obviously. With the worm, we do gravitate toward things like worms and centipedes and praying manti and scorpions, you know, stuff that we associate with either poison or death, you know.
All of the above, right.
Right. You know, the danger, the scythe-like arms of a praying mantis, you know, obviously that has its roots back to the Grim Reaper. And like, that's the thing. It's not because they're green and they have big eyes. That's not the reason. Right? It's we make that association with the scythe and with death, and that's why. But again, it's also dangerous. You know, that's the kind of, it's just how our brains it's how we do things, right? So, yeah, so like you get this idea of it as it's corrupting these weaver spirits, right? And turning into something new. And that's the key. Because I'm not suggesting that a corrupted pattern spider grows a scorpion tail, but it's turning into something new, right?
Yeah.
And as it's turning into something new, I love this idea. And this is, Danny gave me this idea right here. You don't realize it. You inspire these words. Perfect. The idea of these other pattern spiders on it constantly running around its body, crawling through and in and out of holes, right? You've got those rust holes and like the fucking open wounds of flesh that's forming, and the spiders are running in and out of like the body and the metallics together, trying to weave it back into how it used to be.
Yes.
Right.
But
and then
like
like
they start getting corrupted.
Right.
And then it's like it's spitting acid down its own chest to melt some of the spiders away because it's like hives. You know, a little hive burst and a bunch of spiders run out. Fuck. So you want to take care of that. Oh. That's medical advice. No apple needed.
Anti-Dr. Porter.
Anti-doctor. Hey, I know a doctor. Curtis Webb, remember? WebMD. He's a good guy. Then we got Doc on the Discord.
Yeah, Doc on the Discord.
Yeah.
Dr. Ostrich. He's a good guy. Anyway.
Write you a doctor's note anytime you need to get out of work.
Actually, he doesn't like to do that. I write doctor's notes at the drop of a hat.
Right.
What was the one I wrote? To whom it make it was for Tom?
Probably.
Dear Tom's boss, get fucked, let him do what he wants. Signed Curtis Webb, MD. I've done better ones, though.
Dear Tom's boss, get fucked.
That's a doctor's note. The doctor told him that. That's a professional...
Signed, DDS.
No,
that's dentist. I mean, still, it's a doctor.
You don't associate me with those perverts. Speaking of teeth. No. I mean, that's some imagery that I pulled out recently, or in the postmortems.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Shadows and Tall Trees Chapter 2, which this is new for CJ, so here's a little... Sorry.
Spoiler for you,
right,
but, like, not spoiler for everyone else who's been... Unless you haven't listened yet, which, what the fuck?
Whatever. Just here, I'm talking a little bit about it, just briefly. But, you know, the imagery I had, like, of the goat with his teeth replaced with rusty nails.
Yes. Oof, it still creeps me out.
You know, or there was it wasn't a creepypasta, it was a horror game. I don't remember the game, because it was one of those, you know.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
You know, yeah. But the idea of roaches in your mouth.
Yeah.
They're like replacing roach eggs, replacing your teeth.
Roach eggs?
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no thanks.
No thanks.
Nope.
But there you go, right? That idea, and then, again, a worm associated kind of thing. The idea, like, as you talk, as you open your mouth, they just come, just an endless stream pouring out, running out to escape as the mouth of this spirit opens. I do that with something filth related person.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine so. Yes.
I will say, an idea that I just had for creature designs that might be something for us to touch on a little bit is you don't always have to make your own. You can reskin existing creatures. Like a game a little while back, I had reskinned the regular Hollow Man to be this guy who drives around an ice cream truck abducting kids every now and then, who's wearing like the mascot suit. And underneath that is just spiders fucking filling the suit.
Well, number one, he was still a Hollow Man.
Yeah, he was still a Hollow Man, but it was a different look versus the...
Well, true.
The hollowed out.
That's true.
He's wearing... The spider's wearing the mascot suit.
Well,
yeah.
Driving an ice cream truck, nevertheless. Beautiful.
But it's just an example of one that I have.
Are you going to throw in the Icy Bear?
Icy Bear? No. No, I'm like...
Go ahead. If you're worried, just do it.
No, I'm not worried. It's just it was Mr. Tasty from Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh.
I gave CJ the idea.
That was the inspiration.
Yeah. I sent him the picture of Mr. Tasty. You remember him from the Pete and Pete episode?
Yeah, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. I love that show.
Yeah, it was Mr. Tasty. That was the inception. I'm like, what about this? And then CJ took it and ran.
Beautiful.
I just wasn't sure if I should bring that up and kind of like my throwing you under the bus or not.
No, that works perfectly, and that's the look of this creature. I'd never explicitly stated it was a Hollow Man. I changed up a little bit here and there to better make it interesting for the pack, but for the most part, it was a Hollow Man, just reskinned as Mr. Tasty.
Well, yeah, like at that point, you don't have to say the name, but functionally, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
It's still awesome.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is. Mr. Tasty. Yeah. Jesus Christ, it's been so long.
It especially freaked out one of the players whenever they punched him in the face, the mask deformed, and then just popped back out the next second.
Oh! That's kind of genius.
I don't know if you did it, but I hope you did. Like, before you unveiled it as the opponent. You know, like it was just around every now and then or something, like as a fucking...
They bought ice cream from them twice.
Perfect. And like, but like, yeah, like while during one of those, I don't know if you did it, but I would have, right? Is during one of those encounters, you saw a spider crawl along the fucking plastic mascot head.
There was a decent-sized cobweb up in one of the corners that I had made sure to point out.
Okay, close.
With a few spiders crawling on it. But
yeah, close. Yeah, like you just do just a little thing to foreshadow what's real, but you wouldn't think it, right? It's like, oh no, I hope that doesn't crawl in his eye and fuck up his whole day. Right? And it's like, no, that might be the eye, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's exactly where he's going to go.
Right?
And not fuck up his whole day, but be part of his day.
Yeah, really? He's part of it. He was taking a walk. His exercise.
The eyes exercise.
Now the eyes have it. What? Makes sense.
It made plenty of sense.
No, it was thematically, but it didn't make sense as a sentence. Like, fucking, no one was voting. What are we talking about?
Oh, man. Okay, so we've kind of established that it can be done, but it's not nearly as much with Weaver as it is with Bane and with Gorgons.
Yeah, well, other creatures, but it's not as much.
So, but it's mostly going to be done with Banes. And then again, we talked, I mentioned the 7 deadly sins, and they're kind of vague. And then I'll even go back to as far as we've mentioned before, and it's probably been a long time for this one, but like fire, the spirit of fire, how it can be more than just burning and destruction. It can just be warm and soothing and calming.
Right, there are multiple facets. And I want to, real quick, back to the Weaver for just a second.
Sure, hit me.
You look in terms of inspiration, I mentioned the Matrix, you mentioned the,
Terminator.
Thank you. Jesus, how was that difficult?
Well.
Right.
It's difficult to keep making movies. Well, not difficult to keep making movies, apparently.
But, I would also look at the work of Geiger. H.R. Geiger. Who obviously we all know because of Alien and the Xenomorph, but let's look beyond that. When you're going to do Weaver stuff, I would I don't want to say make it boring, but functional.
Functional, I can see.
And you want to lean, keep that, the kind of bug imagery, the arachnid imagery, keep that if you can. But if you're going to do something I wouldn't call the Xenomorph a great example of something Weavery, but base something off the Xenomorph, certainly. Because the Xenomorph's a little too, wild and unpredictable because it's an organic creature. And you want to focus less on that wild and unpredictable at all times and make sure that whatever you're designing has function. But you could still try to get that kind of body horror that you get out of H.R. Geiger. Sorry, just moving on. I felt like it was important to touch down on that just a little bit. No, that's a good influence.
I know. I absolutely appreciate it.
We have done something for the Worm just straight. We've done something at least Weaver adjacent. Do we want to try making a Gorgon?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because, we brought up the cedar.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mentioned the job, but it's the cedar was probably the bigger deal.
Yes.
But
spoilers. I know.
Yeah, I worry about that kind of thing. Yes. I will, but I can speak, generically though. I'll speak, like I said, with the cedar, I try to think about its function just like the Banes. Mm-hmm. Try to find some common ground to hold on to. Mm-hmm. With our plant monster. I had the ideas of the vines obviously working like a neurotoxin. And look, the main part of it, which was kind of based on the Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, right, could totally chomp on, but it doesn't get as many nutrients. It's faster, but it gets far fewer nutrients.
That is why I liked that. It brings more life to it.
Right. Again, how does this work?
Right. It's...
Yeah, the idea is
more sustainable this way.
Yeah, what it would do is it would send these little seed pods out, right? And then the vines would latch on and suck the nutrients out of the victim over time, which would go to feed the seed pods, which would eventually grow enough to go move out on their own and separate from the main thing.
Right.
Okay. So it's more treat it like an animal and its purpose versus the concept and its purpose.
Yes. And remember, and the thing about the wild, is growth.
Mm-hmm.
You lean toward it, and a lot of people go random. And sure, random can be a thing of it, kind of, but growth. I look back to the Red Talon Shrine book, right? When I was having such a fucking blast talking about their version of the origin story. But there's truth to it. It's just never looked that way. What's the wild job? The wild job is to fucking grow, to reproduce, to get to more.
Yes.
More and better and more of it, of what it is. And so you want organics and you want growth.
Yeah. Probably could, this is where you make your really vibrant creatures. If you want to delve into a little bit more of the randomness. I'd imagine the cedar isn't a super matte and muddy coloration, if you had to describe it. I'd imagine that thing's a little bit more stand out.
What's funny is I don't know if I ever did expand on the colors. No. How odd. But yeah, I pictured, cedar? Yeah. I pictured, greens and browns is to blend into a tree.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. That's kind of how I see it. Even if you have never said it out loud, that's exactly what I think of it as.
Well, it's excellent. I don't know. Did I never say that? That's so weird. But
that's
what was in my heart.
Again, gecko, monkey, pineapple.
Yeah, the pineapple part might be taking the image of it just a little bit in my mind with the coloration, but
Well, what color's a pineapple? It's like brown.
True.
Yeah, the outside. That's exactly why I thought of it that way.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of the inside for some reason.
Maybe the inside is yellow. We never discussed eating cedar meat. That's a sentence.
Cedar meat?
Yeah. Who wants cedar steaks?
Not I.
Pairs very well with bacon and ham.
I doubt it.
See what I did there?
Oh, pineapple. Son of a bitch.
Also, what doesn't go well with bacon? Fuck off.
I give credit on that one. That was good.
Thank you.
I will say just a little example of a wild spirit that I've used before, just from a general creature design, leaning more into the change aspects. You know those little weird head spirits from Princess Mononoke?
Love those guys.
The pack had found this area where the gauntlet was like super weak and everything was supposed to be in balance as like an example of what the world should be. And there was a bunch of these little guys just hanging around. And the whole thing with them was they were always reaching out to touch something. And if they touched you, you had to soak 1 point of like lethal damage, and whatever they touched changed a little bit to represent that change aspect. Like it might turn to metal, it might turn to wood, it might turn to water, who knows, but it's always a little because they're just little tiny spirits.
I like that idea. I think it's a little Nexus crawlery for me, personally.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. I take that the other way. To springboard off that, I'd go the other way, right? Where, because when I talk about growth in focusing on, Gorgons or wild creatures, they do the growth thing. But also, look, you're talking about the change thing. So how about stuff that's constantly changing in terms of its form? Again, we use that example for Princess Mononoke, little bobblehead spirit guys. You notice that they have weird. They all have the different shapes, but it's generally the kind of 3 holes for eyes and mouth. And what if those are constantly moving around the head? Or,
Get like a little lava lamp effect.
Yeah. Or the spirit that undulates, and like its head and arms are moving throughout the body, flowing, like an hourglass full of water that keeps turning.
Okay.
Melted candle wax, just flowing down and then back up, like this fucking perpetual river or something.
Okay. That's a really neat idea. I can't fucking imagine why I never thought of that. But yeah, that's something to definitely bring in, like, especially for spirits of the wild. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, where Gorgon's probably a little bit more static since they're physically there.
Absolutely. But yeah, you can get a lot more creative and freeform with the wild spirits. Where, again, the Gorgons are just, they're fucking physical beings, so the laws apply to an extent.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, though, because again, there are some aspects we can use, but they're super vague. Let's go with like something like fear. What's what's a spirit of fear going to look like? And it's going to depend on the person, right? What they're afraid of.
I think it's going to depend on the person, or
right.
We could argue it will be dependent upon the person that it last fed upon.
Okay, even better. But what if they're not a fear of something like material object, like a spider? They're not fear of spiders. What if it's something like their fear of heights?
As a spirit?
Sure.
Well, because as a, that's not going to be, okay. As a spirit, I could see something like a fear of heights being represented with motion. And I'm trying to find the words to paint the picture I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's like a constant, feeling of vertigo.
It's something I want to portray in the spirit's form itself. So I want you to picture a cylinder. Okay. I'm going to try to do this.
That's fine.
Picture a cylinder floating in front of you. Okay. And on this cylinder, in the middle of it, right, facing you directly, it looks like a road. You get the road stripe in the middle of the road.
Sure.
And it's moving. It's spinning. Cascade. It's going down. Just over and over. Like you were strapped to the hood of the car looking down as it's going down the road. Right?
Holy shit. Yep.
And on the sides of that cylinder, because you're looking right at the centerpiece, right? And then on the sides where it's going around the curve, it's spinning the other direction. And then you take that a step further, right? instead of the cylinder being solid at the top and bottom. You know, it's almost like a waterfall where it also curves up and over. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So it's constantly spilling and doing a loop like a fucking belt in the center and then along the sides in an opposite direction to give that sense of motion and speed constantly.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's how it exists. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a road. It could be a forest where this line of trees is going down and these side trees are going up, or a city skyline or whatever. You get the idea of the motion coming on different directions.
Right.
At various speeds. So yeah, like this idea, right? Of the, like, be it a forest or a city skyline or whatever, right? And it's just, you've got it's going, you know, down in the center, and then on the periphery, you know, it's going in the other direction just as fast, maybe faster, to give that constant sense of motion. And then, right, because it's like when it's dormant, right, when it's docile. What if, when it wants to intimidate, or it's trying to be hostile, or puff up its chest, if you will, that cylinder inverts and surrounds you?
Oh, fuck.
So now it's not just the cylinder that's spinning and turning, it's everything around you. You're in the center of it suddenly.
That's some serious vertigo.
Yeah, that would be fucking trippy as hell.
Just a thought,
and
right?
Terrifying, yeah.
Fear of heights, there you go.
Oh, I love that.
You can use it with vertigo as well. Maybe it's spinning instead of rotating. Like clockwise and clockwise and counterclockwise instead of up and down.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
That's good. Because again, I was thinking like, okay, yeah, fear. But like, not everyone has like the fear of like those material objects. It could be something like fear of heights, fear of crowds, whatever the fucking case.
And that's the thing. It could be like a fear of crowds. Maybe it's taking a humanoid form
and multiplying.
Right, but like in a way where it's not like, what I'm thinking here is like the man. Like the men's room man. Mm-hmm. That symbol guy with the circle head and the shoulder, right?
Oh, okay.
Only
picture on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
The men's room man, that symbol in the white circle. Only, I mean, flesh colored in 3D, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be flesh colored to be more unnerving.
It's very unnerving.
But like 50 of them.
Yeah.
But they're all connected. As if you were drawing it without picking your pencil off the page.
Oh, fuck. Yep, that's a definitely, that'll hit you.
Just 100 of that.
Yeah.
Possibly in the shape of a crescent moon or a semicircle, so that it surrounds as it approaches.
Nice.
And again, that's one body. You know, it's not, that's just the whole of it. So go ahead, CJ.
Oh, it was, this has got me thinking of just some interesting little ideas that are reminding me of maybe a conversation we had before. I don't remember if I ever discussed these with you, but just a spirit that will eventually possess somebody and create what I'm currently, just right now, if I had to name it, a forget me, basically a spirit of isolation. That its whole thing is whenever it finds a host, it latches on and does whatever it can to make them as forgettable as possible until people start forgetting you even exist.
I like that.
And now here you are just wandering around, not able to interact with anybody. Maybe, you know, if you actually ever get to see this thing or see the fomori that comes from it, you know, once again, it's like the bathroom men's sign, just blank. It's as forgettable as possible. It's as simple as possible. But if you're able to see them, they see you, and this is where it starts spreading. I
could see this almost like a worm. Okay? Like a large fucking worm. Okay?
Yeah.
With wings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking maybe bat wings, where you got like the little claw hands with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like yeah. And it's got like a long tail. You know, like there's the central body, and at the top it's got the circular mouth with the row of teeth. And this tail that will wrap around the torso of the subject. Mm-hmm. So you got those bat wings with the little claws, right? And they come up right there at the clavicles. and just kind of rest over like a fucking backpack, right? But then, when someone speaks, like when the subject, the victim, I guess, speaks, right? Mm-hmm. Like it lets loose these gossamer little threads. I mean, this is all spiritually speaking, right? Not materialized. That harness the person's words and kind of cover them with a white noise.
Oh.
So that even the things they say just go in one ear and out the other of the people that he's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Just right, you get this imagery of the little threads that just kind of glisten in the light, and you can just barely see them like a spider web, but not because we want no spider imagery,
right?
And just kind of like almost like a wind chime out of the mouth of the person, like coating their lips or something that just filters so no one's listening to what they say. Like you could have the outline of the person while they're being fed upon or possessed or whatever is in the umbra. Like this translucent blue outline of a person while they're wrapped around it.
And slowly fading out. Almost like they're just a fucking ghost at this point.
Well, I mean, that's essentially, it would be like it's feeding on their spirit.
Yeah.
So there would be the physical representation of it because it's being fed on.
Oh, that's awesome. That's creepy and gross, but it's awesome.
Imagine if you get a few of these in a town and they just start spreading. Eventually, maybe a couple of years later, somebody, a pack wanders into this town that looks like everybody just disappeared.
But they're all still there, just...
Nobody,
But nobody cares.
Maybe the further along they are, the more, the brighter that outline of the victim is in the umbra. Yeah.
So nobody's there, but nobody's there, but as soon as they get in the umbra, it's just...
Well, I mean, and they're not being drawn into the umbra, but just some sort of physical representation of how...
It's like you can't remember them in the physical world. Like, they're there, you might bump into them and just like, oh, maybe you tripped over a crack.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, yeah.
But then, let's just say, what's the umbra look like this? You peek sideways and you see like 30 of these people just milling about with these creatures on them.
Ooh.
I think that's cool.
That's awesome.
Or imagine you and another group just got in a fight, or you got in a fight with some monster. You look over in the umbra after the fight, you look around and there's just all these people dead around you.
This isn't related, but it was in my heart.
It's fine.
And we're talking about design, right? The paranoia spirit that only manifests or represents out of the corner of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
It looks...
I have it already.
Right, you can only... you can't look at it directly because it won't be there. It'll always be in the corner of your eye, just off the edge of your periphery. A shadowy figure.
Somebody's always standing right behind you?
Right. It's a feeling and a glimpse of something, but nothing more. Of course, you could speak to it. You can interact with it. But you can't look at it directly because it'll never be there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have that already.
That's just the spiders I put in your ear.
Oh, thank you. Now I know. I can know what to do.
Half the battle.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, I mentioned the 7 deadly sins earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are kind of vague, but maybe some of them aren't. So, are there some examples? Look, greed. We talked about gluttony already. There's lust. There's the crime of passion.
Well, I mean, I think the better way to do it,
because
again, I mean, we can't be here all day.
Right.
Like, we're running low. But so kind of maybe like a lightning round, I would say different things.
For each one?
Yeah, different aspects. Like, we go back to gluttony, right? And I would advise lots of teeth.
Yep.
Right? An overabundance of flesh, of rolling in terms of movement, mouths, obviously. Like,
could also subvert it and go the other way, starvation, but can never be filled. So you're always eating and eating and eating, but it's never actually filling.
Certainly. But even then, you want to use, when designing the creature, right? Yeah. Like, it's going to need mouths. So mouths and teeth and openings that maybe don't fit with people. Maybe the mouth opens vertically.
Okay.
Or both.
Yeah. Multiples.
Lots of rows of teeth, lots of bulbous flesh, round,
Okay. Well, if we're going to do a lightning round, then hit me with pride.
No.
I mean,
no.
Technically.
How about a mirror?
Did you say a beer?
A mirror.
Okay.
For like the pride and vanity and appearance.
I like that. reflective surfaces. I'm thinking squared off right angles. You know,
interesting.
I'm picturing like the chiseled jaw, the defined shoulder pads. Now, that's in a humanoid form, right? But you apply that other places as well. I'm thinking, tight right angles, creature posture. We're not slumping. I think that's definitely going to be important.
I like that.
Straight and stiff.
Yep. All right. Greed.
Which, funnily enough, by contrast, I would have more hunched over with my greed type creatures.
Arms always ready to grab something.
And probably multiple arms.
I see it as multiple, yes.
Yeah, multiple arms. Like I would, top of my head, a greed spirit, just designing it immediately. I would think like a monkey, right? But yeah, with like 6 arms.
Constantly grabbing his other.
Right, constantly grabbing from multiple angles all the time. And beady little eyes that constantly shift and dart. Maybe multiples.
But like, as they're shifting and darting, they're super focused on the one thing.
Maybe one set is. Maybe they're going in different directions at any given point. It's always watching. It's always, I want to add a level of paranoia to it. Something slithery or slinking, something quick moving. Yeah, and I want to do, I'd say multiple arms.
Okay. All right. Sloth.
Which is funny. It's like almost the other direction, right? Snorlax.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Weird, but yeah.
But I mean, there it is, right? And I would do something deceptive like that. Something that seems like it's almost non-moving.
And non-threatening.
But,
yep.
Yeah.
What'd you
something that barely ever moves. Go with that more rotund, probably appearance similar to Snorlax. Something you can mistake for like a boulder until it actually moves.
Right, or while we're at it too, something more stationary. I look at the fucking Sarlacc pit from the Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I had.
Okay.
No?
It's a microphone. It amplifies.
Sorry. Yep. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like a Sarlacc pit or a Snorlax pit. I just combined the two. or like a quicksand.
Yes,
but full of teeth and gibs and stuff. All
right. Then lust.
Well, that's easy.
Enticer.
2 dogs humping. And this is funny because we didn't really get into it, but I'm gonna work this into this, right?
Sure.
In terms of stuff for Inspirato. Okay. And first of all, guys, Ash vs. the Evil Dead is a great piece of inspiration for some creature design. They have some really nice creature design there.
There's a lot of stuff in there, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah. The little kids at the end of season 1. I've ripped them off a couple times. And I'm gonna say rip them off, not even influence. Like, no, it's just I want that. I want that in my game.
Oh, that's creepy.
But I think when you say lust, I mean, obviously we have enticers. We have, and I forget the name of the fucking lust thing in it. It's in Book of the Worm 20 or Umbra 20. Book of the Worm 20, I'm pretty sure. Like, Book of the Worm 20. It's got the picture up. Where thank you, with the hands and the mouths and the, right?
Yep.
There's that, but let's go the other way too. I think about the end of The Devil's Advocate.
Ooh, it's been a while for that one too.
And also I think Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I think both. But it's this where you have, like in Devil's Advocate, you had the end with the pillars or whatever, and there were constant forms of men and women like screwing and grabbing each other and groping and rubbing up against each other on these pillars while the scene was going on. You had the the end of that Nightmare on Elm Street. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it might have been 4. It wasn't. It's got to be 5. But there's the giant torso where, you had that same thing, like the human forms pushing out of this thin skin, and so you want to do that. Like, it doesn't just have to be humans. Like I said, 2 dogs humping is the same thing. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Lean into the Geiger aesthetic.
You could, but I like that idea of, maybe the spirit is just a mound of flesh, but it's not. It's the things like inside of it that are pressing their way out while acts are happening. levels of groping or just the flesh pressed against that thin. Like, you think back to Nightmare on Elm Street 1, right? When Freddy, that excellent fucking scene, right? Where he's leaning
over the top of the bed.
Yeah. Like that.
Ooh.
But just more explicit because we're talking about lust.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, then you have Wrath.
He's an alright guy.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
Hey, Wrath. Nice to see you, buddy.
No. I want to do barbs and spikes, sharp angles.
I can very much see a whole bunch of just sharp.
Right. I want, in terms of color, I would go lots of blacks, browns, and reds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Top heavy in appearance, like it's always ready to, it's got all that muscle or all that power just ready to unleash.
Yep, I like that too.
Maybe keep a permanent hunch, sort of like Gree, but instead of like crouched over grabbing things, more of like the Predator ready to run at any second. Like it's ready to just take a step and go.
I'd say more coiled, like a fucking rattlesnake.
Okay.
Weird, but yeah.
And it's not very different from what you're saying. I want to evoke that more imagery because it's more something ready to, it's ready to strike. That like that rattlesnake, any fucking second, right? It's just gonna boom, lunge, and
That's good though. That's good. And then last would be and definitely not least, but Envy.
Daniel Tyson. It was gonna be whatever you said. I wasn't keeping track.
I'm so glad I picked that one last. Thanks.
I'm glad
and
you
that's
didn't,
our show.
I'm glad
we'll
you didn't
see
pick
next
Lust.
week.
Motherfucker. I'm glad you didn't pick Lust last. That'd have been bad for all of us.
All right, so then seriously hit me with Envy. No, don't hit me with Envy, but give me something, ideas for Envy.
I mean, if I had to go off the top of my head, first thing that comes to mind is a mimic. It looks like whatever it's interacting with. Like it wants to be whoever or whatever it's interacting with. Just maybe a little different.
So, like an imitator.
I could see that. I don't want to bring up the color green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that there's a hue you want to use. And you almost don't want to because it's so on the nose, but fuck,
you kind of have to.
You kind of have to. Yeah.
It's just imitating everything that you're doing, but it's a green version of it.
It looks like you, but greenly. It strikes with verdant philosophy. Verdant philosophy?
Wow!
Fuck off, Porter.
Going back to that mimic idea just a little bit, instead of just mimicking whatever it's interacting with, it's mimicking everything around it, just little bits and pieces here. So let's say, you have the spirit of envy interacting with your pack. It's an amalgamation of your pack.
I can get behind that.
I could see that. I could, I'll see that and raise you this, right? It appears in a form of something that the viewer, I guess, covets but doesn't have.
Okay.
But really wants.
Jaeger runs into it
himself with an arm?
Yes, is what I was going to say. For example. It's not a great example, but it's something surface level,
It's
right?
surface level and easy to reference. Sure.
Right. Crimson Ghost looks at it and sees a version of himself
next to his grandfather.
Well, no, as his grandfather.
Oh.
As the Beast of St. John. Holding the axe with and then how do you really articulate that? But it's that understanding because we are talking about spirit. So it doesn't have to be one for one. It can be a concept and be viewed that way. Right.
Or even something as
it doesn't have to be a dude. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm going the same direction with it. It's holding on to something that they've been searching for and fighting for and trying to get for however long, and it's just out of reach every single time. A long lost fetish.
All right. Yeah. Or here's a weird one. As a version of the American Gothic painting, except instead of the farmer and his wife, it's you and the long lost love, the one that got away.
Oh shit. Yeah, because that would hit you hard.
Right. And the painting's just floating there, and as you speak to it, maybe both of the subjects of the portrait speak in unison,
Mm-hmm.
blink in unison. The mouths open and close in this painting as one. Both voices come out to interact.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, the one that got away. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's fun. Could always show up as you with something you've been chasing after. You know, you're a Silver Fang wanting to get that familial clave. You're just waiting for your chance to prove yourself.
Exactly. And you give life to that vision and that concept of it. You know, and hopefully you do it in a way that isn't just directly in front. Like I said, like the American. How do you do the envy of the one that got away?
Mm-hmm.
Do it as the painting, that well-known American Gothic painting that you don't need to explain that shit.
No,
you know, you could do the same thing. You know, like with that from that family clave that CJ's talking about, right? It's like a painting or a statue of you with that clave.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or it starts that way and it's taken and the statue crumbles and the head rolls down over in front of you and the statue's head starts speaking.
Holy shit.
You know, play with, because we're talking about the spirits, you can play with it visually like that.
Yeah.
And you can tailor it a bit with concepts like that are hitting on a personal level.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
And look at, we just all 7 deadly sins. How fucking awesome would that be to see?
Well, just ideas of them, not the whole.
Well, sure, but like a storyteller can very easily take any of those ideas and bring all of those into their game. And again, that's why we did this episode. So, fucking bully.
Right? Because Halloween is fun and creature design is fun. And that's another thing, too. When you go for Inspirato, I would recommend hitting Tubi.
Yes.
Because Tubi is free. And they have, there's commercials, whatever, but it's free and it's pretty extensive. And it's horror library.
Mm-hmm.
So look into some of those creature flicks. 'Cause there's some good creature design there.
Crypt TV.
Crypt TV. I love Crypt TV. Big fan of the
SCP
looks.
Foundation.
Yep. You know, I think about even some recent flicks like The Boogeyman I recently saw, and I liked the creature. It didn't blow me away, but I really liked the creature design. Okay. You look at Smile. And just the smile, I mean, just even the fucking trailer, like you see that creepy ass smile. Like even something like that can be integrated into your creature design. You know, so find that inspiration. Look for some weird shit. Borrow the stuff you like. Mix it with the other stuff. You know?
Plenty of gorehounds out there with the slasher movies.
Exactly. Have some fun.
And happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. We will see, it is that time. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go, but you know what? We're going to see next week with our actual play, the next part. That's 10-2, I believe.
Yep.
So, we'll see the thrilling conclusion of that story and a couple, maybe example of some creature design that you may or may not enjoy. And then we'll
definitely wanted to talk about, but couldn't yet.
Right. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for Halloween proper. So, trick or treat, my friends. On behalf of Danny, CJ, and myself, we want to thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your claws sharp, and your head in a swivel. And we'll see you. Fucking watch a horror movie or else.
Preferably with werewolves in it.